Hey guys, it's Ashley. So just a quick note before we jump into the video is that we didn't really have an intro for this video, so I just want to preface, we're just going to be talking about my disability and the type of disability I have. But not only that, we're going to elaborate into different topics within the disabled community and just touch on those briefly. Anyways, enjoy the video.
So Ashley, what's your disability?
I have a disability called Osteogenesis Imperfecta, and it's a congenital disorder that makes my bones very fragile from a defect in collagen.
So does that just mean your bones are very fragile?
Yeah. Yeah, no, so basically it means that my bones are very fragile and I break bones easily, but anything that has type 1 collagen in my body is affected. So that could range from low muscle tone. Some people have issues with their lungs. I personally don't, but OI, which is acronym for my disease, is a wide spectrum, so it can affect anyone in different ways. There can be joint issues, all kinds of things.
But it affects everybody in a different way,
Yeah.
right? Because I know a girl who I'm not sure if what she has is OI, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But she can walk.
Yeah. So the majority of people with OI can walk.
Okay.
The most common form of OI is type 1 OI, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's more of a lack of collagen than a defect in collagen. But anyway, so people with type 1 OI, it's a less severe form, and they just deal with it differently. So I know people with OI who can walk. There's a girl at our school with OI who can walk.
Well, didn't you used to be able to walk?
Yeah, but I always walked with a walker, and people with type 1 OI, they're shorter, but they're often average height.
Do you like walker or wheelchair? Wheelchair more.
Wheelchair.
Okay, I feel like I would feel the same.
Yeah. Well, I feel like wheelchairs are more socially accepted compared to walkers.
Well, because I feel
in a weird
walkers,
way.
In a weird way, it doesn't make sense.
I feel you associate wheelchairs more with people who are disabled.
Yeah.
Whereas you associate walkers more with old people.
Yes, very much so. And yeah. Also, you get less tired walking or wheeling. No, it's a very wide spectrum. There are a ton of types of OI. I have type 3 OI, and there's 14 or something. I don't even know.
So how do you feel about it? Is it just oh, that's just how it is, or
Yeah. So for me, okay. So you can put disabled people in three different categories.
It sounded so bad.
all disabled people are either this, or this. I'm Ashley Jones.
There are people with disabilities who were born with it, probably from some sort of genetic mutation, and they've always been disabled. And then you have people that maybe got into an accident or something like that, and that's how they became disabled, or just different things one way. And then a third group of people could just be something that developed later on, just those kinds of things. So for me, I've always been disabled, no air quotes, been disabled.
Disabled. As you all know, me, Ashley Jones, I'm faking it.
This is my story.
Funny.
I faked having OI for 5 years.
Yes.
Vlog.
Okay. So for me, I don't know what it's like to live not disabled. So I would say oh, this is just normal for me, which sounds really pathetic.
Well, that doesn't sound pathetic at all.
I mean,
I feel I don't know, in my mind, that would be the best way to look at it.
Yeah. So I don't really know what it's like to not be disabled, so I'm just whatever. And I think okay, the majority of people, I think, in the disabled community have the same opinion about disability, where it's just meh, I guess so. It's not necessarily the disability itself that's the issue. It's how society puts barriers in our way, whether that be accessibility or just like overall stigma against disability as a whole. Yeah.
So what do you think society needs to do to change it?
I mean, there's a lot of issues, really. So, like, getting a job.
We need
primarily-
wheelchairs on The Sims.
For real. Honestly, though. Like, representation of. We've talked about this before. But, like, representation of disability in media is very lacking. And when it is, it's like people faking disability, so. I'm sorry. It's not funny, but like
you?
like some things that is like very troublesome for people with disabilities is like getting a job. Like even me trying to find a part-time job is like challenging and like things like that. And like when I apply for jobs, I never say I have a disability when like that question comes up because they won't call you back. So yeah. So that's like one way, or like another way would be like maybe like accessible housing, because that's very lacking and doesn't really exist. And like when I become an adult, I'm gonna have to make my house accessible instead of trying to find a house that is already accessible. But in 1990, the ADA was made.
The what?
American Dental Association? The people who like my toothpaste like claim they're like, oh, certified by the American Dental Association, we'll make your teeth cleaner.
I feel like the ADA, the American Dental Association, should have been around for longer than when.
No, the Americans with Disabilities Act was put
Oh, okay. I remember
You said the
that.
ADA was made, not put into place.
into place.
That really.
Signed by Bill Clinton,
Bill Clinton.
I think. Maybe. Yeah.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Marina, right? Well, I want to
I don't remember
pull up
what-
some statistics. Yeah, okay, Mom. Okay.
Yeah, okay, Mom.
You just said yeah, oh. Yeah, oh.
88. And like, okay, one thing though, I do want to bring this up, right? With like this whole like disability awareness, like as a whole. Like the history of disabilities is never talked about like in history, right? And like we always talk about how, you know, like when we're in history class, it's always this one-sided perspective of like the privileged, right? And like brings it into that side of perspective. And so like we don't talk about how Christopher Columbus like was a terrible human being, like, you know what I mean? And so we also feel like in history don't talk about like disabilities and how they were disenfranchised.
And we don't talk about like minorities as a whole.
They don't talk about minorities as a whole, and that's an issue, you know.
Especially with a minority that's as large as the disabled community.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so many people are disabled.
Well, is that an issue with like, I don't know, because I don't know a lot about it. Is that an issue with like there just aren't like a lot of sources, or there isn't a lot of like recorded history about disabled people? Or is it just like they don't teach it even though it's there?
They don't teach it. Because there definitely is. Like, we talk about how, like, eugenics was, like, a huge issue for, like, disabled individuals, like, not that long ago. Like,
The case where people mentally ill people were legally could be sterilized.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was in America.
Mm-hmm. And that happens
And
to
it's
people
still
of color,
in
too.
effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Like, that's real. Or, like, they don't consider people with mental disabilities to have, like, a sex life. And, like, there's been cases, like, people with disabilities, specifically, like, intellectual disabilities or developmental disabilities, are so much more likely to be raped and to have, like, sexual assault against them. And, like, the issue is that they aren't taught, because able-bodied people think like, oh, they don't have a sex life, so they're not taught about how to advocate for themselves when stuff like that happens, and when like they report it, like people think, oh, they're making it up, you know, which is really sad.
So what do you have Simon for?
It sounded so accusatory.
So if you guys are new to our channel, Simon is my service dog. Simon helps with like any mobility tasks that I need. So like if I'm wearing a coat and I have a broken arm, Simon can help pull my coat off, and it's cute. And like at my house, he can like open the fridge, and, like get something out of there, or like if I'm on the ground and I like fell or something, he'll like go get my mom and be like, yo, she fell.
Bark, 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 bark.
And then like he'll carry my stuff, like pick things up, open the door button.
I feel like that's like too much power for a dog. The other will open the fridge.
It is.
Like if I was a dog and I could open the fridge, like you better just not have steak in your house ever again.
It is. Like, okay, he can open my pantry, and sometimes he feeds himself, which is not good. So we took the handle off.
Of the pantry?
No, like the handle for him to cook.
Oh.
And like he knows how to open the bathroom door, and he eats my mom's loofahs. He is a service dog, I promise. He just likes loofahs. One thing he did, like I remember freshman year, he would turn in papers for me, and he like takes it up to her and he's like, and like he'll do that, or like we're training him, like if I ever need my aid, he'll like go out and get her and like leave the classroom and go like snatch her. So yeah.
It's just your aide screaming as she's being dragged down the hall by the foot.
Simon bumping her along.
No, but like
No, not the staircase.
dude, Simon probably wants to go down the stairs because he never does.
How many times have you like broken bones in your body?
Over 100 times. Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
Dude, I kind of want to be like, dude, if I were you, I would be like, when I like introduce myself in class, I'd be like that bitch. I'd be like, I'm Ashley Jones and I've broken
Okay.
over 100 bones.
That used to be me. Oh. No, it did. Okay. So like, what? Okay. Basically, by the time I was 4 was when I broke 100 bones. Okay. And so after I was
What
4,
did you do? What the fuck?
it was just like.
Well, like when you're little, you get into a lot more accidents.
Yes, but also, fun fact about OI, it's worse than your childhood. So, like, as you're a child, your bone turnover is like, I don't even understand, you're like growing. So, like, you're constantly breaking things like a ton, and like, so, like, I don't break things as much anymore. Like, I used to break something like every month. Like, that's a lot. So, now it's more like every once in a while. So, or if like Simon kills me. Moral of the story, disability. Things to know. It's a wide spectrum, you know, like I don't consider myself an inspiration for like breaking a lot of bones, because that's just like all I know. Like this wasn't a choice. This was given.
This wasn't a choice.
She lost it.
It was fate. No, I'm kidding. The gods must really want to screw me over. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. Okay, I need to concentrate. No, like, I think, you know, we just have to understand that, like, a lot of people have disabilities, and not to have disability be an afterthought when you're considering things. Like, let's take the CCA, for example. There's only one accessible study room, and it's this one. Or, like, take the science labs, the newer ones in the CCA. Are they accessible? No. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, the point of this video is to nail home that, like, disability affects everyone, and you can become disabled at any point in time. Like, you could get into a car accident tomorrow and be paralyzed. Like, that's the reality of why everyone should focus on disability as a whole, because it's so broad and it's the largest minority there is, that it applies to everyone, you know? So my point is, if you have any more questions, go to oif.org or like any other disabled website, and I'm sure that will help. I'll put links in the bio.